how sensitive people become blocked on money by what logical people tell them to do with their money. So today I'm going to talk about how people get blocked on their money. And it's not what you would think. You may have read the traditional articles about money, and there's nothing wrong with the traditional articles about money suggesting that you save $1,000 or 6 months of emergency fund. There's nothing wrong with this advice, but how we approach these goals and how we assimilate it into our consciousness really makes the journey a lot more pleasant, and it helps us manifest easier and have an easier time with money. So if we're not careful, on the way to learning these skills about money, we can become so fear-based, we're so afraid to ever spend any money that we adopt these really negative beliefs. And when we adopt these really negative beliefs, it's hard for us to ever feel abundant ever again. It's like, I can never afford the name brand clothing. I can never afford payments on a car. I can never afford a really good home. And when we start developing these beliefs because we're so obsessed with money, or we're obsessed with paying off the house, but we won't really move to the neighborhood that's really resonating with us, and we're choosing to stay in a negative neighborhood where there's danger and there's problems with our safety, what happens is that we get blocked and we start wasting our time and our money on things that are not really ours to control. Think about roommate situations, for example. Maybe you're trying to save money by renting with a roommate, but what happens is the roommate is a criminal. They steal your food, they cause a lot of trouble, they call the police, or you have to call the police on them. And when those situations occur, they're not really your problems. It wastes your time, your money, and your energy. And sometimes these negative mix-ups that you get involved in with other people can even cost you your job. For example, if you end up getting a criminal record because you've had a problem with somebody you live with, then that could affect your job and your employability, which allows you to earn money. So this obsession with being frugal, you have to consider carefully what your frugality could be costing you. And sometimes it's better to have the abundant mentality that you can go for the thing that's good for you. You can go for the good apartment and live on your own. You can go for the healthy relationships and afford to wait before you get married. These sorts of decisions can really pay off for you financially long term, although they could be more expensive short term. But what these financial goals really say to sensitive people is like, ignore those things. Just do whatever it takes to save the money. And I'm all for working hard to save the money, being frugal on things that don't really matter. Like if you need a certain product for your household, but it doesn't really matter what the quality of it is, then by all means, go buy the cheapest thing. If it's not giving you joy and it's not important to your quality of life, don't worry about buying the highest quality thing. But if buying the higher quality thing is going to mean something for your mental health, if it's going to mean something for your relationships, if it's going to keep you away from unsafe neighborhoods and bad elements and people who are not right for you, then those expenses are worth it. And that's where I disagree, with the frugal advice to always do the thing that's cheapest. Sometimes you get burned if you go too cheap on something, and it's something that's going to affect your life, like where you live, or even a car. If you go very cheap on a car and you buy the oldest thing, often it breaks down. You're going to need repairs on it. And another key fact to consider is when you do go for something frugal, something old, do your research on it. Maybe it is still good. There is a misconception sometimes among sensitive people that you always have to have the most expensive thing and you always have to live this big, luxurious lifestyle. And that's not true either. You need to really evaluate what your needs are and get the core needs met by whatever you're purchasing. And sometimes you can go frugal. Sometimes you can go older on a car, just as long as it's a good quality make of car that's going to last for a long time. And then you love the car that you're driving, whatever it is that you pick, even if it's old or it's a little rusted or a little imperfect, you love that thing to death. Some intuitives will say you have to buy the new car. You can't be driving a junky car. And I say it's all in how you love and take care of the car, and that it meets your needs, whatever your needs are in those moments. When you get something that meets your needs, you take good care of it, you wash it, you do all of the maintenance and repairs that it needs, and you get it looking as good as it possibly can look, although it may never look perfect, then that's when you're doing the right thing. That's when you have that balance where you're being cautious, you're saving for emergencies, you're not overspending, but you're getting the things that you need that are good for your physical health, good for your mental health. And one of the expenses that I do recommend taking on, that not all financial gurus recommend, is to get a gym membership. Now, if you're the type of person who's disciplined enough to build their own gym at home and really use it and work out, that's amazing. Absolutely do that if you can afford to do that and that works for you. However, what I've seen with many people is when they buy their own home gym, they buy their treadmill, they buy their weights, it just sits and gathers dust. For a lot of people, they don't use it, they don't work out, and then it becomes a waste of money in that situation. So it's actually better to have the gym membership and be around people, because I think the social element is more important than the equipment, the influence of people who want to work out, and that mentality actually helps you more than the physical stuff in itself. So being in group classes, being around people who want to be fit and who want to be healthy, that will rub off on you. And that's more important, in my opinion, than having the physical stuff in order to work out. It's all about the energy and the mentality that you're bringing into your goals and your dreams and ambitions. And your basic core needs in life are not financial, believe it or not. People think it's financial, but I believe it's actually health. If your physical body is not right, that's going to take all of your wealth to fix. So you gotta make sure you're taking care of your health. Even if you're in a frugal time, even if you're being careful with your money, make sure your physical body and your physical health is on point, because when it's not on point, that's when it takes all of your money and all your resources to fix that health issue, right? So as sensitives, we want to make sure we're not actually believing that we're selfish for wanting what we want. Sometimes the big, beautiful thing that might seem expensive or selfish, we may want for a good reason. There could be good energy about it. It's not always the right thing to be absolutely frugal, but it is a good idea that if you really want something, pause and think about what needs you actually need to meet. Do you really need the most expensive workout outfit that's on the market, or can you suffice with something a little less expensive? Or is there a good reason you're going for that workout outfit? Maybe you're being filmed as an instructor and you want to look your best, or you're just showing up at the community gym class. It really depends what your needs are and what you're hoping to achieve with the outfit that you're wearing, right? We also really need to be careful what we teach our children about money. If you're always being frugal and you never have any money to spend, and you're telling them they're selfish when they want to spend money on an expensive pair of shoes or a fancy chocolate, the problem with that is you're sending them the message that they don't deserve it. You're actually reinforcing low self-esteem, and you're telling them they can't have something that they've dreamed about. That's actually really not good long-term for a child's ability to manifest and achieve everything that they want. Rather, you want to teach children to have self-discipline, that they don't need to consume everything that they want, because that's actually a really valuable skill in life, and allow them to reflect on what they really want, what's really most important to them. And if it's really that important, then maybe you should buy the expensive chocolate or the expensive shoes. But it depends where it's coming from. If the child is insecure, then maybe you need to work on the insecurity that they don't have the same things as their classmates. Maybe that's more important than buying them the expensive item. It really depends on the energy and the mentality of where the child's desire is coming from, and you need to explain it in a way that is really conscious and you've really reflected on why you've made the decision that you've made. And it can't be just a snap reflex saying you can't do that because you don't deserve it or you're selfish. If you send negative messaging to children like that, then they're going to pick up on it, and then they're going to feel like they never deserve it. They're never going to get the high income. They may get a university degree because they're told to do that, but then they'll stay in a minimum wage job and never leave home. So you have to be really careful about the messaging you give your children. See what they truly want underneath it all, and see if manifesting that is helpful to them. I saw one post from a parent on the internet recently where she was building apartments for her children inside her own home for them to live in as adults in order for them to save money for a home, which sounds all well and good in theory. But the problem, I believe, with this is that children will always believe that they're dependent on their parents in order to save for a home and in order to have wealth, and they never really get lives of their own. They don't date, they don't strive to pay their own bills, and that's actually not good for a child's mental health in the long run. I don't think there's anything wrong with living at your parents' house when you're an adult for a while, but you shouldn't be doing it long term. It's really not good for you. And whatever sacrifices you need to make, you need to figure that out as an adult. You shouldn't be just relying on someone else in order for you to have wealth, or else it feels like it's never really your own. And so we have to teach children to be independent as well, to do things that they love. That's very important in order to attain wealth, not necessarily things that they hate. But if they can do the things that they hate with love, then everything in life becomes pure joy. And so that's a valuable skill that we can teach our children as well about money.